Have you ever felt like you are constantly bouncing from one task to the other and you are not quite sure if you are making progress towards your goals? I have found that there is a scientific approach and a biblical approach to breaking away from this cycle and tap into a zone and a mode where your daily efforts align perfectly to your long-term aspirations and vision. Hi, I'm Olude Adeneke, and I created this YouTube channel to help you find and chart the course of destiny by providing practical tools, action steps, and insight from the Word of God and scientific research designed to help you along your process of becoming and living out your maximum potential. This channel is designed to help you connect the dots between purpose, destiny, and your daily pursuits. When I was in my second year in university, I had an insane, surprising amount of purpose and direction in my life. I love gospel music and I decided that I wanted to host and organize a gospel music concert in my university. And I and a group of friends came together and we formed a team and we had different designations. We had someone that was in charge of making sure that there was security for the event. That was Mr. Dyer. Kudos to you, Mr. Dyer, anywhere you are. And also, I had my vice president, which was Demola. Kudos to you, anywhere you are. And I had a couple of other very, very key people, Dami, Toyosi. It was like a team of young, vibrant people that didn't know, could not take no for an answer. We just had a mindset that we were going to get this thing done. We believed that God was going to make it possible, and then you know, with that sense of vibrancy and youthful exuberance, we wanted to do exploits for God. And because of that, we did not see limitations, honestly. So we had a clear sense of direction and an insane, surprising amount of purpose, for a young person in those days. And we put together the concerts, we went around campus, we we campaigned, we in different fellowships, we went to different fellowships, we announced the event, we went to different people, we wrote letters to different organizations asking for funding. And somehow we put together that event and it was a success. Actually, we've almost filled up a 1,000 seater capacity hall, and I was more focused than I had ever been doing anything in my life. And I prayed more, I fasted, I studied the Bible, we held meetings as a team, we prayed together, we planned together, and just insane amount of focus for young people. And we knew what we wanted to achieve and we were set out to achieve it, and nothing was going to stop us. Even though we were all students and we had no means to fund the project, we just knew that somehow it would get done. And that faith, that childlike faith, is what we channeled, and we had a very wonderful event. I had a clear sense of direction and the vision was so sweet in our heads, even though it was greater than what we could, the vision was bigger than what we could achieve as a student at that time. And it was way bigger than what we were capable of achieving. We enjoy talking about the vision. We enjoy, projecting into the future and seeing that, oh, this thing can become something big, and we could impact our world with this platform, and transform our generation with it. Now, during that period, these pursuits were a tunnel through which I could focus my attention, channel my vision and my energy and faith, and everything was channeled into this in that period. So my vision was clear. We knew what we wanted to achieve, and just tunnel vision, and then I knew we're just going after it. We did not see obstacles, even though there were obstacles along the way. We didn't have funds for some of the things we needed to do. And even funny enough, some of those things got paid on the day of the event. So that's to tell you the level of faith that it took. We didn't have some things sorted out, and it was on the day of the event that the money came up. So it was a very faith tasking journey. The word makes sense because it revolved around my destination, my purpose of being a convener for a movement of God in my generation. But everything changed after we organized that first concert. It was a success. We had almost filled a 1,000 capacity seater auditorium for an event that we organized for the first time. And it was a glorious event, and we had paid most of the expenses. And although I felt a sense of fulfillment alongside my team, and I knew that this was what I was called to do, and I knew I was going to organize bigger and better concerts, but there was just this one thing that bothered me. We still hadn't paid the videographer that filmed the concert. Okay, so and he kept calling me, and this was very uncomfortable for me because I didn't have the funds at that time to pay up the videographer. I decided I wasn't going to do this anymore until I could afford to fund the event by myself. And years went by, and my team and I went our separate ways, and we never did another concert together after that first one. Now, this became a challenge, and for years I was searching for money, and my once clear vision and sense of purpose blurred. My mind started to subtly unravel. I would hide away from the people that knew that I organized that event that time. And now there were no real goals anymore, only an endless pursuit for money and for sustenance and for wealth. I no longer had a future point to orient my consciousness around. My goals and visions now seemed distant and unattainable. Here's the truth. Years later, the Lord spoke to me and told me that if the vision was God-sized, like ours was, then one man alone will not be able to fund it. Imagine when the sanctuary was built in Moses' time, and the Israelites actually brought in all of their resources. They actually began to bring in free will offerings to make sure that the temple was built, and this is how the sanctuary was built. Okay, so the Lord opened my eyes to see that I was trying to rely on myself to do all of the work that He commissioned us to do, which on our own we could not have all the resources that are required. Okay, the enemy made me so focused on money and trying to get the resources required, made me lose sight of my vision. I'd allowed the enemy deceive me into pursuing money rather than walk the same childlike faith that turned the possibility of the first event into an actuality and something that we actually did do. Okay, and so I was so focused on, oh, the one person that didn't get paid on time, whereas there were other things that God took care of without us even having to bother too much. Okay, so I allowed the enemy deceive me into pursuing money rather than walk the same childlike faith that was required to carry out any such work for God. The identity I had built had disintegrated, and I was lost and unclear about who I was and what I was here to do. Now, there's a name for this sort of aimless, chaotic seeking that I was experiencing. I saw a video by Brian Doris where he talked about the psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. And according to psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, this desperate searching and grasping for something that feels perpetually out of reach is called psychic entropy. Psychic entropy is essentially a psychological term that refers to the natural tendency of the conscious mind to drift into disorganization and chaos or even despair. It's like the equivalent of physical entropy, where things tend to move from order to disorder. To explain this better, imagine that your brain is a toy box. When your toy box is tidy and everything is in the right place, you can play happily. But if all the toys are mixed up, scattered, it becomes difficult for you to find what you want to play with, then it's not fun anymore. Psychic entropy is like when your brain is a messy toy box and it's hard to think clearly and have fun. Csikszentmihalyi argues that psychic entropy is not just a temporary state, that it's actually the human mind default setting when that human mind lacks direction. He explains that our consciousness wanders aimlessly when we ruminate on past mistakes and we begin to worry about the future and get overwhelmed by this existential angst. Now, in the Bible explains this way in Proverbs 29, verse 18. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish. So you can see how that a lack of clear sense of vision and direction causes chaos to be the order of the day. Another clear illustration of this in the Bible is in James 1:6. It says, but when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. So when you are blown and tossed by the wind, there is no clear sense of direction, no sense of control, and it leaves a sense of wasted potential that compounds upon itself every day that passes when you in that state. It's that pain you feel when you know that you have more to give. Like there's so much potential in you that you can achieve, so much greatness in you that you can unlock, but you don't know how to unlock it. And it eats away at you with every misaligned action. And your confidence in yourself washes away slowly, and you start to question your own worth and capacity, especially as you see others around you that seem to have their life put together, they seem to have a clear sense of clarity, and they have properly channeled ambition, their lives all seemingly figured out. Now, there are two core ways to address psychic entropy. The first of which is you need to find your core identity, and as in things that are made have the identity in the maker. The maker of a product determines the purpose of the product. The same way we as humans, our maker, which is God, has determined our purpose. So you need to find out who you are in God, your purpose in God, and your identity in God. One easy way to do this is to answer the 5 core questions of humanity as defined by Miles Monroe. I've also created another video on that. Make sure you find the link in the description or in the cards above so that you can deep dive into it. But these are the 5 core questions of humanity. The first one of which is, who am I? Who am I speaks to your identity. The second one is, where am I from? Where am I from speaks to your heritage. The third one is, why am I here? Why am I here speaks to your purpose in life. And the fourth one is, what can I do? What can I do speaks to your potentials. And the final one, which is the fifth one, is, where am I going? Where am I going speaks to your destiny, your predetermined destiny in God. Make sure you watch the next video. It will be somewhere in the description or in the cards so that you can find that video where I discuss the 5 core questions of humanity as defined by Dr. Miles Monroe, and I provided the answers to those questions and I also addressed them in detail. So make sure you find that video. So once you have answered these 5 core questions and you have found clarity on your purpose in life and your destiny and your potentials and your heritage and your rights, the next thing you need to do is to create a structure for action in your daily life. Okay, and the best way to do this is to use the goal stack, which is what the emphasis of this video is about. And for the sake of those of you that are watching this video, I've created a custom GPT AI that will help you go through the process of creating this. So I'm just going to explain what the goal stack is in this video so that you can understand what it is and how it works and how it can create clarity for you and align your purpose and your vision to your daily actions. Now, your goal stack consists of 3 basic elements. The first of which is your massive transformative purpose. Okay, your massive transformative purpose is a meaningful problem you're called to solve and serve other people with, and it has to be one that fuels your motivations. Now, the second core aspect of your goal stack is your I-had goals. Your I-had goals are derived from your massive transformative purpose, and they are the big goals that you identified that you will need to achieve your massive transformational purpose. I'm going to show you what my own goal stack looks like. Okay, so don't worry if this sounds like it's going over your head. The last step in the equation is your step-by-step actions. Okay, so your step-by-step actions are derived from your I-had goals. Now, those step-by-step actions are broken down into yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily tasks. Okay, so it breaks down what your I-had goals are so that your day-to-day actions align directly to your massive transformational purpose. So here's what my own goal stack looks like. At the top of it, we have the massive transformative purpose, and your I-had goals is next, and then followed by your step-by-step action. My own personal massive transformative purpose is that to help young men and women chart the course of destiny by providing practical tools, insights, and action steps from the Word of God and research. You can think of it as your calling, that thing that speaks to what you perceive God is calling you to do in life. So in my own case here, my MTP, as you can see here, aligns with my core values of faith, relatability, simplified wisdom, and actionable steps. This means that every goal I set going forward will align to my core purpose in life, which is to know God for myself and make Him known to my world. So these are my I-had goals. The first one is study the Bible 3 times in the next 5 years, which is I need to study the Bible all through for the 3 times in the next 5 years. This is not just passive reading, this is actually studying the Bible topically. Okay, and the next one there is I want to create a content platform to share the ideas I find and and to help young people like myself in their process of becoming. And the third one, like it, is I want to write and publish a book. Okay, so you can see that these are my 3 I-had goals that I need to accomplish over the next 5 years. And so the next step is now to break those I-had goals into step-by-step actions. So in my own case, I've just taken one of the one of the three core I had goals, which is the create a content platform, and I broke it down here so you can see what that looks like. My step-by-step action is yearly I want to create 48 videos, and each quarter I'll need to create 12 YouTube videos, and monthly that boils down to 4 YouTube videos every month, which means every week I need to produce one video every week. Okay, so this is my step-by-step actions broken down from my I had goals. Okay, and so I now need to break this down into actionable daily steps, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So this is my daily, you know, content creation calendar. So I created this, I called it my part-time YouTuber 4-day content creation schedule. So you can see what I did was to design my calendar around the days when I'm off work. The idea is that I created this schedule around my current 9 to 5 work schedule, and then so every month I have to have like accountability check-in dates. So on the 15th of every month, I check in on each item on my I had goals, and I see how far have I gone with them. Okay, so that's basically what my goal stack looks like. Now, once you have gotten to the daily action steps, you will now need to set alarm. Don't try to overcomplicate it by using all these to-do list apps and life management apps, maybe your calendar and stuff. Just make a system that is simple by just using your alarms for the start. Use alarms, set alarms for when you want to do those daily tasks as defined inside of your step-by-step actions. Okay, so you will not decide that okay, at so time on this day in this week I'm doing this. So every day between 10 and 11 p.m. I'm reading my Bible. So you set an alarm for 10 p.m. Once it is 10 p.m. it rings, and then you know that okay, it's time for me to pick up my Bible and read. So you build an understanding of what your day-to-day is like to design your daily tasks. Make sure that it works well with your operations. Feel free to tweak it as the day goes and then see what works best and what time works best for what. Okay, for the purpose of making it easy, instead of creating just a PDF document for you to go through, I've created a Notion page that explains this in detail, and I've also created a custom GPT that makes the process of creating your own personal goal stack easy for you. Okay, so find a link in the description and go straight in there and sign up and to be able to make use of those free resources. Okay, and my name remains Olumide Adenike, and I'll see you on the next video.